Hi, my name's Ilma and welcome to my channel. I've been posting Christian blogs 12 straight years every day. Today I'd like to share Genesis 50, 1 to 6. Here's the Word of God. Then Joseph fell on his father's face and wept over him and kissed him. And Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Israel. 40 days were required for it, for that is how many are required for embalming. And the Egyptians wept for him 70 days. And when the days of weeping for him were past, Joseph spoke to the household of Pharaoh, saying, "If now I have found favor in your eyes, please speak in the ears of Pharaoh, saying, My father made me swear, saying, I am about to die in my tomb that I hewed out for myself in the land of Canaan. There shall you bury me. Now therefore let me please go up and bury my father. Then I will return." And Pharaoh answered, "Go up and bury your father, as he made you swear." Genesis 50 verses 1 to 6. Here's the poem I wrote inspired by those verses. Jacob's death and Egyptian burial rites. After Jacob blessed all his 12 children, he died. Joseph wept over his beloved father and kissed him. Then he commanded the physicians to embalm his father. It took 40 days to embalm the dead in their tradition. They wept 70 days in accordance to their burial rites. Then after that, Joseph asked Pharaoh to bury him in Canaan. And here's my commentary. According to iBible.com, in Egypt during the time of Joseph, burial was more than just an event that happened after a person's death. Egyptians prepare for burial by building their own tombs, designing special jars, and undergoing a lengthy embalming process. Egypt's burial rites held deep cultural significance. No wonder we read from these verses that it took the physicians 40 days to embalm Jacob and a total of 70 days to lament over Jacob's death. We can see here that Jacob, although not Egyptian, was given an Egyptian burial because of his son Joseph, who was an Egyptian ruler. The interesting thing here is now Pharaoh approved that Jacob's body be buried in Canaan. Egyptians value the afterlife so much that they wouldn't ignore the request of the dying. Reflection. How can we see the fulfillment of God's promise in this time of Jacob's death? Well, at the time that Jacob died, we know that Joseph was one of the most important ruler in Egypt because he took care of the famine, he took care of all the preparation for the famine, and the Pharaoh was under the wisdom of Joseph. So in other words, even though he is the bigger person, the king, he still is leaning on Joseph for everything. So in this, we see the fulfillment that those who do not know God, and Egyptians are one of them, are going to be under the rule of those who know God. So in the end, the believers and God's people will still reign over those who do not know him. So we see that here. And even though Joseph wasn't a true Egyptian, they have considered him as an Egyptian, and so they gave the father an Egyptian burial, although I'm sure that Jacob wouldn't want that, but because he also honors the fact that his son is a ruler in Egypt, but then his desire to be put in the land of Canaan is another fulfillment of his promise, because he wanted to be in that land where God promised to Abraham. buried with all the other, with all his ancestors, excuse me, with all these ancestors buried there. So it is interesting how God works in situations like this. So I encourage you to check my website at ilmaarts.com for artworks, photographs, and a copy of this blog. Please subscribe to my channel on YouTube so I could make more videos and bring you the Word of God. If you haven't already seen over 3,000 videos I've done, just type on Google or YouTube search ILMA'S Poem Devotional. Have a wonderful day.